Welcome to the How to Die in Mexico podcast. We help immigrants of U.S. origin live better in Mexico by addressing end-of-life worries and fears through education, contemplation, and planning resources. I am your host, Sarah Mae Conway, author of the book, How to Die in Mexico, and you can find me at dyinginmexico.com. In this episode, I speak with Dr. Willebaldo Esquivel, a geriatrician living and working in Los Cabos.
Health is not about an organ. Health is about everything. It's about how do you live, who do you live with, like what do you do? Do you see often your friends? Do you visit your friends often? Do you go to market or to church? Do you still have a job? Like they show me that health was way more um, about everything than only a disease.
We discuss why you might benefit from connecting to a geriatrician in Mexico sooner rather than later, and how having an ongoing relationship with a geriatrician can significantly improve our well-being as we navigate aging and end of life in Mexico.
We, as geriatricians, we have this saying, which is there is something always that you can do. Like you can't be a geriatrician with a mentality of I can do anything further. No, there's a lot of things you can do, even if it's just being with your patients that you started treating when they were healthy and now that they are saying goodbye. You can just be with them, hold their hands and tell them like it's okay. Like tell me how you feel, like I'm here. Hug them.
Connect with Willebaldo at bajageriacare.com.
One of the most common regretments that people had when they were passing away, it was that they didn't spend as much time as they would have wanted with their family and friends.
Yeah.
Which is social relationships. So that's something we should take and look and take seriously if we want to age nice and to have a palliative companion. I will call it that way.
May this episode be of benefit to you, and if it is, I would greatly appreciate your support in the form of a like, a follow, or a 5-star review. Well, you tell me I want to know all about you and a little bit about wanting to become a doctor, but I'm really curious, like, of all the specialties you could have chosen, why did you choose geriatric medicine?
Okay, I think every doctor. Well, first of all, my name is Willebaldo Esquivel Reyes. I'm 32 years old. Right now, I'm living here at Cabo. I'm living at Cabo San Lucas, but also I'm treating my patients both San Jose and Cabo San Lucas. I just arrived. I just finished my medical specialization, like I told you before. And my specialization is about taking care of our senior patients, which, by the way, today is International Day of Elderly People. So
Wow.
it's so good that we have this conversation today. And why did I decide to become a geriatrician? Well, I think that it's back when I was a med student. As you know, when we are like at med school, you go through so many different specializations, right? Like you go gynecologists, traumatologists, pediatricians, and I was very lucky that my university, which is Universidad Autónoma del Estado de México
Mhm.
in Toluca, they were one of the first and one of the pioneers in this area, like where they were introducing us to what it was like geriatricians. And so when I arrived there and I started going to my clinical practice, I realized that the doctor, when he was dealing and treating these patients, they were like, hey, like, how are you feeling? How are your feelings? what do you do on a daily basis? Like, what do you do on a regular day? And he was always telling us, like, of course, we were checking memory, mobility, medications, everything that matters in geriatrics, right? And I was so shocked by it because it was so different. It was so different from what I've been exposed to as a med student. I've been exposed to only taking care of one organ or one part of
Mm.
the body, like only the brain, only the heart, only the kidney. But when it was geriatrician's turn to show me what it was like to become a geriatric care doctor, mm, I got really surprised that they were like, health is not about an organ. Health is about everything. It's about how do you live, who do you live with? Like, what do you do? Do you see often your friends? Do you visit your friends often? Do you go to market or to church? Do you still have a job? Like, like they show me that health was way more um about everything that only a disease. So
Mhm.
I got so amazed by it, and I was like, I want to be like them. I want to do that. And well, I was lucky enough that I could get it. And here I am.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I mean, I think all of us hope to have a doctor that sees a whole person, that sees our family life, that sees like that we are more than just a body.
Yeah.
Um, and
We are a soul, we are a person,
yeah.
and not only persons, we are brothers, we are sisters, we are daughters, we are sons. We
Mhm,
have so many things within us that actually I read a book recently. It's called The Self Illusion.
mhm.
And this I don't remember who wrote it. I lied if I tell you that whenever I read a book I'm like, yeah, this is the author. No, I'm not like that at all. I'm like, okay, so like I read it, that's it. And so they were saying in this book that we are way much more than even what we believe that we are. We are a brain that's been exposed to other brains. So it's really hard to think that we are just ourselves. No, we have a little piece of others in us, and we let them, some pieces of us in them. So, according to that, you have so many different functions in your life. You got certain activities when you're a kid, when you're a young adult, when you are a senior. You're always different. You're never the same person, and that's an amazing way to see how we go through life and how we change, and that we are way much more than just what we are today, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because also there's the whole component that you're specifically studying, in a way, change because you're studying
Yeah.
aging, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like normally people think that geriatricians are only for senior patients who are actually dealing with multiple disease or that they have so many things going on. And no, actually, the way you said it, it's totally right. We study aging. What are the best ways that we can go through a healthy aging? It's not only about the way you look. It's not only because what could I say, like I couldn't be like, you gotta be skinny, like I can. It's about the way how to develop as a person. It's the way you keep your function. It's about how do you plan to go in your further years, like you don't need a geriatrician only to treat your conditions. You may get help by a geriatrician to get a plan and to teach you how to take advantage of your body, of your general situation, to keep it improving in order to have better life quality. That's like
Mhm.
what we try to do with aging. It's
Mhm.
it's not like to stigmatize aging as losing function or something else. It's about showing that we can age uh, gracefully and we can do it healthy. And it's really a golden, precious time of our lives to that we should approach. And it's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think, I'm listening to you explain what a geriatrician is, and it's like, oh, this sounds wonderful. But I think a lot of
Yes.
people think like, oh, that's not for me. It's only for old people. And maybe there's like I don't know if it's fear or it's just like, even if I'm in my 70s, I'm like, that's not for me. That's for really old people,
Yeah.
And like, how can we overcome that?
I think we ageism. I don't know if you've heard about it before.
Mhm,
Ageism, which works actually works in both ways. It is whether you're too young, you don't have the experience, you can do that, or you're too old to do that. No,
mhm,
so I think this ageism is something that we have really deep inside of us. Um, Probably it comes from let's call it productive society, which is
mhm,
like they think you have an expired date on
mhm,
what you can do or what you can do, but also that you need to go through some processes in order to become an expert when it's nothing about it. So I think that will change. That's something really important that we have as a generation.
mhm,
It's to show that age, we have different ages. It's not only chronological age. We have
mhm,
personal age, we have biological age, we have chronological age, we have productive age. So that's our job, I think, as a generation. And I think for the generations that are coming after us, they will have a better understanding of what is aging and how we can age um, proper and to make it a really nice ride in our lives. I think that maybe you and I we won't see the changes, but we're trying and we're working on getting this situation better.
yeah, you never know. Yeah. I mean,
Well, hopefully, yeah.
with all the talk on age, like at what age should I start considering, oh, maybe I should get a see a geriatrician?
Okay, so for this matter, we have uh actually no, we don't have a specific guide to tell us when you should visit a geriatrician because it changes according to your social situation. It's not the same in well-developed countries that in developing countries. It's totally different. For example, uh, a, a man or a woman who are 90 or 80 years old in Finland, which is one of the countries that also has one of the highest life expectancy, they should get a checked by a geriatrician, but it's only according to a number and some maths, right?
Mhm,
And a people who is from, I don't know, in our case it's like Latin America, we should get checked by a geriatrician around 65 because we are expected to live around 80 years.
mm,
So it's really hard for doctors and scientists to establish a specific age because it
mm,
depends on so many different factors. But it's been shown that aging starts around 30 years old. So in that moment, it's when your body got like the highest, it's living its prime. So you're living like your best life, but suddenly you start going low with some mutations, some mistakes within your body and your cells and inflammation, which is the way we call it, inflammation. It's a low grade inflammation that goes higher with age. Um, so of course that it affects. And so when should you get checked by a geriatrician? I think in independent from your social condition, 60 could be a good moment for you to visit a geriatrician and be like, okay, so this is me. What should I do in order to live better and to avoid some illness, you know? So
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
60 would be a nice age, at least here in Mexico. And for what I've seen uh, and with you, I mean, expats, you know,
Hmm.
I think 60 would be a really good age.
Yeah. Because I imagine a lot of expats wait until something goes wrong before they
Actually, yes.
even see a doctor. And maybe when they
Yes.
finally see a doctor, they're like, well, they go straight to like a heart doctor or straight to a kidney specialist or straight, like maybe they don't have a relationship with like a general primary care physician or a geriatrician. Like,
Yes. You know, like we have different ways to divide medicine, which is
mm,
a specialized doctor focused on treating one organ, the way you
mhm,
said it, kidney, brain, heart, stomach, you know, and we have doctors and specialized doctors who are treating everything, okay, which is internal medicine, which is pediatrics, could be, you know, they're generalist doctors, but just for children, and geriatricians like us, gynecologists, which is despite age, they can treat every woman, you know, according to their gynecological conditions.
mhm,
And yeah, you know, what I've seen lately and what I think it's kind of not a mistake, but maybe a misconception. It's that, and it's something that I see here, especially in Baja California Sur, here in Cabo, it's that normally, mm, I'm sorry, it's not fair, I know, but there are so many people trying to take advantage of expats, and they
mm,
try to get them through so many things that could be avoided if they could only rely on some, like the way you say, you know, primary care, GP, or an internal medicine doctor. If you are a young patient, a
mhm.
geriatrician, if it's with us, you know, like, so I think actually it's more that has to do with a misconception uh, when you think that it's only an organ that it's not working properly, then something different. You know, I think it has to do more with probably the way you said it, the way that I feel like my heart it's not okay. So I don't care like what is going with my brain, with my stomach, with my legs. Like
Mhm.
I'm trying just someone to fix me my organ. And even when the body could be working as a machine, mm, we are whole beings, you know. It's not like you are only a heart or brain. No, maybe you are losing weight, but what you don't know is that you are losing weight because you're um not eating properly, and you're not eating properly because I don't know, let's say like in 2 or 3 months it's the anniversary of the day that you've lost your son or your daughter, and it's coming, and maybe that's the way of your body of showing it to you that something's not good with your mind, and the way that you are getting aware of it is that you're losing weight, but you don't know that you're losing weight because of something psychological, you know, or psychiatry.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. What do you, are there, let's go back to, yeah, this idea of taking an advantage of expats.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
no, it's been it's something well, you know, uh I've been fighting that in so many Facebook groups because that's I think for me, well, you know that I'm just coming back from Merida, which is the city where I did my medical specialization. So for me, it's been kind of hard to trying to get in touch with the community, with an
mhm,
expat community, and but well, so the way that I could get in touch and the way where I found you, it was on Facebook, right?
mhm,
And every time when they look, I'm trying to do my advices like with the doctors that I know that they work um honestly and that they work proper and that they won't try to take advantage. But of course, well, that's the way that I can do it. But actually, even I think you in your USA, I don't know if it's the embassy or something like that. They have marked few institutions, health institutions here in Cabo that
Mhm.
they recommend to avoid,
Yeah.
right? So why is happening something like that? I don't know. I don't think that I have an answer, but I can say that I'm sorry. We're not
Yeah.
all like that. There are good people trying to make good health for everyone despite their origin. Mm,
Yeah, I'm
well,
curious because I hear this and I hear okay, especially in relation to something else I want to talk about, which is the advance directive. But I
yeah.
hear people say if you have money, they want to keep you in the hospital because the hospital wants to make money. But sometimes that confuses me because is it the hospital that's keeping me there? Is it the doctor that's keeping me there? Because the how does the doctor is the doctor not they're not financially benefiting from treating me more, or are they? You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Well, I mean, at least for the experience that I've had in hospitals, uh, well, maybe it's because I think here in Cabo, we are like 5 or 4 geriatricians for all population, which is really low, a low rate, because we should be more.
Mhm.
Um, so since they do not know like what you do or like what kind of patients you treat, normally they tell you how much you're gonna charge, how much you're gonna get from treating a patient. Of course, you are deciding whether it's good for you or not.
Mm.
Um, but I think it's um, more of the system than
Mhm.
even doctors.
Yeah.
The system that's being created. But also, I gotta say something, and it's uh, something, for example, in my case, I'm always fighting against vitamins, vitamin IV drips. All the time, I'm like, no, they're not needed. Like, they're not, they don't have a specific benefit for your health or whatever. But I don't know why population coming from America and Canada, yeah, Europeans not that much, but most Americans and Canadians, they're like, can I get an IV with vitamin D, or can I get an IV with vitamin B?
Mm.
And I've checked those prices, and they are really high, like even $700 for an IV drip, and I'm like, oh my god, like, so I think it has to do more with the system, a system that's being created, not only for health institutions, but also from how can I say it, like the way that we consume health, So I think
Yeah.
it's been an interaction between those factors because those things are not so popular in Mexico City, which is
Mhm.
where I come from, right? Or those things were not even a thing in Merida. In Merida, Yucatan, they were not even a thing. There's no people getting these IV drips businesses. And here in
Mhm.
Cabo, you find them all over the place, and someone who is doing that. And
Yeah.
so I think it's the system. It's the whole system. It's not only doctors, not only patients, it's pharmaceutics as well. So it's the system. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I can even get an IV drip here in San Juanico in like the most rural community in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, for
I
example,
could get an IV drip.
yeah, sometimes I'm like, oh my god, I can get my patient to get checked on some specific lab tests that I need for to get a diagnosis, but I can get them NAD, which is
Hmm.
which it has none evidence, not a single evidence that it's working. But I find them here like every 2 blocks. I'm like, okay, another one.
Yeah, yeah. For all the people with the Cabo hangovers.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can get hydrated with an IV if you like,
Mhm.
but vitamins and microdoses of so many boosters, no, they're not working.
But you bring up a good point, like, what, you know, you treat expats in Cabo, and
Yeah.
what are you seeing as like the most, I don't know, are there any trends and health issues? Are there things that expats should be doing that would help them age more gracefully, as you say?
Well, I'm gonna say something, and I hope your listeners are not getting mad. But I think since the moment I decided to come to live here in Mexico, yeah, it's gonna be a new adaptive process. Like you get to know, for example, your community. You gotta get to know where to get the meal, where to do the market, where can I get my medications, where can I do this, that, you know. Of course, it's a new process, and you gotta even the language. Like you gotta learn even a stop sign, which in Spanish is, alto. So if I'm moving to this country, like of course that I need to get adapt to, instead of reading stop, I gotta read alto, right? And so I think since the very first moment they decided to come to Mexico, they have way an advantage of aging healthy and have a successful aging process. Why? Because I think right now these, and because I've talked to some people from the US living here, it's not only about the money conditions that you can live here better because you have better paid jobs or whatever, and you're earning or making money in dollars. No, it's like people in here, we are way warmer. We are way more um, peaceful. We're not always trying to take advantage of others. We're not always trying to see, like, for example, a patient of mine who was from LA, she
Mhm.
used to tell me, like, 'cause, the tipping culture that it's working in the US makes you expend so much money into giving money to other people. And it's so bad seen when you're like, I don't have the money, like, I can give you money. People will look at you like you're not tipping. So I think since the moment you decided to come here, our society is a most um, warming environment for senior people. And it's been proved actually that senior patients here in Latin America, they live way much happy than even when they live shorter, because we're gonna be 80 or 70 the moment we pass. We're going to be living happier than that people in, let's say, Europe, who is 100 years old but is totally alone, totally away from everyone, and that their neighbors are not even paying attention to how can I help you. So I think in Mexico we have more that culture, and when you live in an environment which is socially secure, to call it that way, that's gonna give you way much more years and quality of life. So if you take everything else, like the economical situation, the society uh, situation, and everything, of course that's something that you got to take for granted if you decide to come to Mexico, because society is gonna help you to go with it and to help you go through it in a better way.
Yeah.
So I don't
Yeah,
think you
no.
should be doing anything different or something else. No, just relax.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with what you're saying. I think Maybe there's a thing about because we are learning something new. It's a cognitive activity that is
So
happening,
good for your brain. Yeah.
especially in Baja California Sur. People are more active. People are outside. Um, yeah, and it
You
is
have
like
so many things to
saying
do
a
here.
warm culture that respects older people. I think in the United States, there's maybe less older people are hidden away and maybe a little less respected.
Yeah, like they're not so well integrated to society, maybe.
Yes.
But I think it's the way they live as well. Like I think well, I think expats here, at least here in Baja California, so the way that you said it, they're so very welcome and everyone is gonna help you. But I think that's with everyone. Like it doesn't matter if you are just uh, a Mexican coming from another place from Mexico. People here are really kind and they are really nice and they are really looking forward to help you just because they try to help you, not to get advantage. And that's really beautiful. That's why I decided to move here. Because I was like, people are so kind there. I wanna live there because people are really nice there. And I did not any mistake. Actually, people are really kind here. That sometimes I'm like, oh my God, don't be so kind.
Yes, yes. Well, let's talk a little bit about the far side of old age as we're getting closer to death. I know um you mentioned, I think, something about how geriatricians are also connected to palliative care. Like, can
Yeah.
you talk a little bit about that? Like, what is your
Yes.
role as as these conditions or just natural aging starts to catch up?
Yeah. Well, since probably the age group that we deal with, so many of them are not gonna get a good outcome. So we need to be prepared in order to know that it doesn't matter like what the conditions are or like the whole situation is. I think we as geriatricians we have this saying which is there is something always that you can do. Like you can't be a geriatrician with a mentality of I can do anything further. No, there's a lot of things you can do, even if it's just being with your patients that you started treating when they were healthy and now that they are saying goodbye. You can just be with them, hold their hands and tell them like it's okay. Like tell me how you feel. Like I'm here. Hug them. Like, you know. So I think actually I had a teacher and she was like, like I think like the most palliative professionals that I met, it's you, geriatricians. Like you have a really big heart. You have um you are really well trained into dealing not only with patients because we don't only deal with patients, we also deal with the family or the social circle that our patients have, right? So actually, we are trained to deal with all of them. We are trained in how to give bad news. We are trained in how to try or at least psychological first aid. We all know how to do that. So I think that's why in so many places we are the leads in palliative care, right? Actually, in some institutions, when there is no an expertise in palliative care, the when who do they call? Well, geriatricians, because we are so close and so related to death that that's why we get in touch with it and we go with it. We know death and well, we just treat with it the way we can, the way that it's best for our patient, and in a way that we won't make it so traumatizing for relatives to say goodbye.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, Mexico has sort of a reputation, from what I've seen, of maybe not being so skilled in general with palliative care. Like you mentioned, there's just not enough geriatricians. Like maybe there's not enough doctors who are really trained in palliative care. And I find it interesting that this balance though between what constitutes palliative care, because I think in the US people think palliative care and they think, oh, pain medication, like that's the only part of
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Um s- and and maybe that's not as accessible in Mexico. And so like what does palliative care even look like in Mexico?
Yes. Okay, so we can go like this. Palliative care in Mexico is really young, I think. Uh it's muy joven. I don't know how to say that word in English because I
Yeah.
just reminded that a friend of mine, my best friend, she's from Poland. And whenever I say John or Jan, I don't know how to say it. I'm so
You said
sorry.
it,
I'm so
yeah.
sorry. But it's really young in Mexico, palliative care. It started
Mhm.
like around the 80s. So it's been only 40 years, which is it's not enough time to cover the whole country. And so what do we deal with as palliative care? Well, in Mexico, according to the law, remember that I told you like we're gonna be talking about laws and the rules. In Mexico, we have palliative care doctors. We also have pain doctors, but we also got a mix, which is palliative and pain management doctors. They are geriatricians, family doctors, or internal medicine doctors, and some others that can apply to get these degrees. So according to law, a patient that is a probably candidate for palliative care, it's one that's been diagnosed with a non-curable disease or who is within the last 6 months of years. That's what law says. But when we're trying to look further in practice, um, well, actually, it's impossible to know um how long your patient's gonna be with you, right? Nobody knows. Like, and those doctors were really mean sometimes in telling you, like, you only have 3 months left, you only have 2 weeks left. Like, how do they know? That's not even a thing. Like, you can get an approach, but that's not real. So, what we've become to know and we've been noticing is that palliative care and that they're trying to change this term. It's palliative care, which is like when you have a terminal illness diagnosed. So, it's not going to be, there's not a cure for it. And care at the end of life, which is when you are in that phase that probably you are facing death soon, right? So in practice, we're trying to make this difference, but according to the law, it's only when you have this diagnosis or you're only 6 months left, which is impossible to know, but that's the way that's the law management. So that will be it.
Yeah, yeah. So is it if I'm an expat in Mexico and I'm approaching end of life and I'm afraid of this idea of pain at end of life, is it true that that in Mexico there I won't be able to get any pain
No.
medication?
No, 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 no. That's totally a lie. And actually, that's why I got to look forward because I really wanted to know. And so, according to Article number 4 in our Constitution, in Mexico, there is nothing related to whether you are an immigrant or not. Mm, you are allowed to get access to health and you are allowed to get access in private services if you got the economical potential to do that. But if not, you are allowed to go to public health systems and they should treat you despite whether you are a legal immigrant, an illegal immigrant, and for free or with no charges if it's a matter of life and death. And well, if there is something else, well, probably there will be some charges according to material used in hospitals and whatever. But according to law, there's not a block on whether you could get let's say medical attention, you
Hmm.
know, in any stage or any condition of life. You shouldn't be denied. I mean, these services shouldn't be denied to you, you know.
Yeah. 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 And yeah, this just, I mean, obviously there's fear around death. And so this comes up a lot, this idea of like, um, well, I want to go back to the US before I die because I want to be able to have morphine or these,
Access,
you
yeah.
know, yeah. And so, yeah,
the
I
op-
think,
the opioids, opium, opioids. I don't know how to say it. But well, you know, those medications, similar to morphine.
yes,
The opium medications.
opioids,
That's the reason I'm
opioids.
opioids. I don't know that word. Yeah. So those medications, bro. You can get those medications here in Mexico. Of course, you need a specialized prescription that could be by an internal medicine doctor, a geriatrician, palliative care or pain management doctor. But this prescription should be registered in the law health system for opiums medication. So
Mhm,
it's easy to get those medications whenever you go in the law and the most legal way to get those medications, because of course you can get those medications on the black market,
mhm,
like in every country, because I know that that happens in Europe, I know that happens in America, I know that that happens in so many other places, no.
mhm,
But in Mexico, if you go with the proper doctor, even some GPs, they can give you this prescription as long as they are under the law and the requirements. You shouldn't get any problem in getting those medications here in Mexico.
mhm, yeah. In your experience, like, as you're treating people at end of life, maybe can you say a little bit about, yeah, like what does the process look like? I mean, I know for expats, maybe here an expat doesn't have the same network of family care that maybe a Mexican would have. Um, so I don't know if it's like I mean, I guess they can have a caretaker at home. I don't think there's really like hospice facilities in Mexico.
Well, I've got to know through some of my patients and some
Hmm.
of my experience here, but I'm just talking about in Cabo,
Yeah.
because I wouldn't treat with these situations in Merida, for
Hmm.
example, or at least here in Cabo. I've known a few patients that been accepted in the hospice and the asiles for
Hmm.
senior people, you know,
Hmm.
no matter that they are Mexican or are immigrants, like
Hmm.
they've been accepted. Of course, when they are public ones, you need to look for the space that there's a place available for that patient,
Hmm.
and like that. What I've seen, what other things I've seen, that they are well, social networks, like
Hmm.
literally, like expats getting close to another expats, and they are taking care of each other. And that's always gonna be a good sport, because that's a way of ensuring that your patient is getting looked after, right? So I think yes, here in Cabo we don't have any situations with taking expats in
Hmm.
institutions, like, because they've had. The only thing is that they have so many patients sometimes that maybe you're not gonna find. So what would I suggest? Go to your closest expat and be like, "Hey, do you want to be with me?" No, I'm just kidding. Like, and to do your group and do these co-housing and these co-living things that they've done. That's a really good proposal. And I think that's something that we're gonna be facing with in the future. For example, even me with my friends, we're like, okay, since we're not getting families, like we're gonna get together, we're gonna build our houses together, our retirement houses, and we're gonna be there. And I'm so sorry for the last one standing. The rest of us, well, we'll be lucky enough to say goodbye probably. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Yeah, no, this is a theme though that keeps coming up over and over. The importance of being integrated into your community, the importance of having, yeah, connections with,
But I've seen people, other expats helping expats in need.
yeah,
I've seen that. So it's possible. It's happening. It's not
yeah.
something really away from the reality. And also the law is even taking care of that. According to immigration law, the last one was in 2024, the last
Mhm.
modifications that we got it. It's that you should have the same right as every Mexican, no more nor less. The same right to attention just because we are people. We are all people here in Mexico. And I think that's something beautiful that we have in Mexico, because I know that not in every country works like this. I've seen that in places like, for example, you guys in America,
Mhm.
like your health system, it's really cruel to me. It's like, how can you let
Yeah.
people die just because they don't pay you enough? Like, it
Hmm.
shouldn't be a thing. And the government, like, how is even government allowing that? No, but luckily here in Mexico, we don't have that, and you have the right. And even there's a point that I read because I was like, okay, so I want to get to know. But there is actually a law, um, a rule in the immigration law of 2012, and they were said that health it's not even limited to physical health. It's you should get attention even if you need psychological and psychiatric attention. You know, it's not only about matters of life and death. If you're feeling sad, you can get attention. And
Hmm.
also it's not only taking care, it's not only taking care of uh adult people. They're talking about boys, girls, senior patients, even when they have different religion, no matter the religion, no matter their culture, and no matter if they are disabled or not, they
Yeah.
should all be included in the health attention, and they shouldn't. There shouldn't be any kind of um. How can I say it? Any condition that should be limiting this according to law. So
Yeah. Yeah.
you should be calm about it.
Yeah.
Like there are laws taking
And
care of this
okay.
condition.
Yeah, I can go to a public health institution and get care. And we know that the public health institutions, um, sometimes there's not enough doctors, sometimes the facilities aren't as good. You clearly work for a private health.
Both.
Uh, oh, you do? Okay.
I do public in the morning, and I do it in a way to try to give it back to society,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
I think that's something we should do as doctors. Like, I know there are a few doctors who are only looking for money, but it's not my case. I'm not trying to do that, but I can do both. So
Yeah.
yeah, in the morning, I'm working with public institutions, and whether if a patient need my attention in the afternoon, well, I can visit them privately. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So would you have any, I'm just curious, any advice, say for an expat who's like, I'm okay, I have EAMS and I'm going to rely on EAMS for everything. Would you have any, would you say, okay, or would you have any advice that maybe they consider some type of private insurance?
Well, I have expat patients at IMSS too,
Mm-hmm.
and I treat them in the mornings. Actually, I'm looking for nurses. Shirley, that's her name. She should be there tomorrow. Like I haven't heard about her. Um, but yeah, like when you should consider getting private attention. Well, of course, if you know that. I mean, according to law, and I got it here. According to law, which is the I don't know how to say. Give me 3 seconds and tell you how it's said. Wait, because there's actually a plan for that. To consider that, like like they thought about everything.
Yeah.
It's called no. It's the Comprehensive Health Care Plan for the Immigrant Population, which is in the immigration law of
Mm,
2024. They said that when you are dealing with a patient who is immigrant at a public institution and the patient is not allowed to communicate, you as a health personnel should get this patient people who are translating them.
mm,
But of course, they don't give you a time. They're not telling you like this should be within the 24 first hours, 3 days no, you don't have a time gap, an established time gap. So this could be 10 days, 20 days until they
mhm.
get this interpreter, right?
Yeah.
So I think if you know that, for example, in your case, but I mean, you have really good Spanish, but if you know that you're not speaking Spanish well enough and that you don't have an English speaking doctor or French speaking doctor in your
Mm,
uh, public health institution, well, then you should definitely look um, for some private doctor who
mhm,
can understand you and treat you proper because sometimes
mhm.
we're dealing with time, right?
Yeah.
So I think only in those situations you could look for something else, but it's only a headache. It's only that you got dehydrated, sunburn,
Mm,
whatever, like really simple conditions that could be treated in the public institutions if you got access to it and you don't
mhm.
have to wait that long. Maybe you could get treated there.
Yeah. 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 Well, that's good
I
to
mean,
know.
that's like the way that I think could be good for you guys to decide, like if you go to a private or to a public.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, and then also, again, it's like the community. Like if you have a good friend who speaks Spanish that will go to the doctor with
they can go with you.
yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Like I saw, s- I think frequently that's an issue when we're talking about age. And I saw a post that you did about dementia care and the importance of having someone accompany you to the appointment. Because if I have dementia, how am I going to go to the doctor on my
If
own?
I can remember. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so, yeah, maybe this is just, it's an all the time thing to consider is like, who's gonna be the one who comes with us to all our appointments and yeah.
Yes, yes. Actually, there is this book, and it's from Harvard, the
Mhm,
adult development, blah 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 program, which is the Good Life. I don't know if you've heard about it or seen anything about that
mhm,
book. Well, but it really started like for 3 to 4 generations, starting with few guys, some guys, like literally they were guys. They were 14, 17 years old, and they chose two different groups. Like one, they both were from Mississippi, I guess. I don't know. I don't remember exactly, but yes, I think it was Mississippi. And they had this group which were dealing with family violence environment, and they have this group that they were wealthy family people, but they all were in Harvard because they fought in this war in Vietnam, I guess, or some war. I don't remember if it was Vietnam or the first World War, something like that. So they gave them as a prize their direct entrance to Harvard. And so they were mixed there, but there were people from all that places, right? And so they followed them and they found that it was not the amount of money that you could have. And actually they settled a limit. They said that in actually time, our nowadays time, with inflation and everything, it should be like Uh, $75,000 per year should be enough. Like if you
Mhm,
earn or if you make more than that, you're not gonna be happier. Like
mhm,
that's enough. That's all you need to take care of your needs. But that's not enough. Okay, so they were like, okay, so it's not money. Is it to have a relationship? Okay. And they found that almost 60% of people who were married, who enrolled in this study, they were feeling lonely.
mm,
They were feeling lonely. And so they were like, okay, so it's not the relation if you got a relationship or not. And then in the third place, they were like, is it fame? Is it if you are famous or not? And they were like, no, we had different groups. We had some participants in this study that developed and that they got to be senators and governments and whatever. And we have people who did like only regular jobs like teachers, like engineers, that they were not famous at all. And no, none of them were happier than the
mhm,
others. So they were like, no, it's not fame. It's not fame that makes you live longer and happier. So they were like, okay, after 90 years of following those people, and that in those times they got only cholesterol and some other particles in blood that could be measured related to general health and things like that. They were like, okay, so what is the thing that make people live longer and happier and safer? And what is it that we could uh, take from this study to tell them to be their most important inversion? And they found out that people who had friends who had daughters, sons, grandchildren, people who had a person, only one,
mhm,
they didn't need 5 people, 10 people to be with them. Only one, only one person that could at any moment you could, oh my god, I need to call my friend, and you knew that this person will pick up the phone and tell you,
mhm,
how are you? Are you okay? How can I help you? Even if they were not physically with you, those people, that relation was the one that could help you live longer, safer, happier, healthier.
mhm.
So what they said from this study, they were like, the most important inversion you can do, it's not on looking beautiful, on being rich, on being famous, on having everything. It's investing in your social network,
Mhm. Yeah.
this tissue, this social tissue that you can create. Invest in good relations, invest in good friends, invest. Don't hesitate whenever you are in this
Mhm.
position of, do I give my time to my job, which is draining my life, or I can skip an extra shift to go to visit my friend.
Mhm.
So which one's gonna, I mean, of course, if I work extra hours, I'll get better pay.
Mhm.
But if I go with my friend, I'm gonna do better, and I'm gonna keep on creating some investment that's gonna give me some long-term benefits. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not only it's not only that you as an expat should understand everything like language, food, where should I go, where can I go, like are they taking advantage of this institute? No, you should better focus on getting people close to you, people who
Mhm.
understand you, people who you feel comfortable with. And that's a way to ensure that even the way you said it, even if you get dementia, you will
Yeah.
have at least somebody who's gonna answer for you. You
Yeah.
know, like if I go and look into, if somebody tells me like, I have this patient, but this patient is forgetting everything. Okay, so who's like the closest person? It
Mhm.
doesn't have to be a relative, but at least I know that I have someone to ask and who is looking for them. You
Yeah.
know? So
Yeah.
yeah, that's what has to deal with that post that you said. And it's not only for dementia, it's for
Yeah.
everyone investing in good relationships. That's like the best we can do.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're not taking money to the grave. We're not taking money. We're not taking houses. We're not taking Botox. We're taking only memories and experiences. And
Yeah.
actually, talking about palliative care, that's there's this nurse, which I don't remember her name. I told you, I know the books and I've read them, but I just don't remember the name. So and she was a nurse. I remember, I think that I read she was a nurse who wrote this book. And she said that one of the most common regretments that people had when they were passing away, it was that they didn't spend as much time as they would have wanted with their family and friends,
Yeah.
which is social relationships. So
Mhm.
that's something we should take and look and take seriously if we want to age
Yeah.
nice and to have a palliative companion. I will call it that way.
I love that. Palliative companion. I love
Yeah.
that. Well, and you're really explaining why, for someone like me, for example, coming from the United States, is a culture that extremely emphasizes the individual. Like this is a huge part of the reason why I fell in love with Mexico is because there is more of a culture of community. And yeah, it's like if that's what we love and why we come here, then we should be putting effort into making friends in that community and joining that community
Sure.
and living more, embracing more of that kind of a life and yeah, investing more in friendships like you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes it's really. I remember that I had a friend, and he still is my friend, but I had it him here with me. Now he's gone to other city, not like gone, but gone. And he moved to Houston, I guess, or something like that.
Hmm.
I don't know geography of the states, but yeah, something like that. And he got really depressed. He
Hmm.
got really depressed because he was like, people in here are weird. Like even neighbors, they don't say hello, they don't
Yeah.
say good morning, they don't ask you anything, and they even take like weird stares at you. Like they give you weird stares. Like I mean, they see you every day, but they still don't feel comfortable with you
Hmm.
being there, and you don't feel comfortable with them being there. And so he was even stressed about his neighbors. I was like, that's not uh, uh life quality. I wouldn't live like that. Like so actually in the end he decided to come back to Mexico City
Hmm. Yeah.
because he was
Well,
better there.
yeah, I mean, I get it.
Well,
That's why I'm
I
asking.
don't because I have never been there like living,
Yes,
but
yes. But yeah,
I
I
think in
guess.
Mexico we're not like that because I even, for
Mhm.
example, in here, I talk to my neighbors and I'm like, "Hey, how are you?" Even when I don't know their names, but I'm asking. And I remember that when I was back in Merida, my neighbors, when I was at the hospital, that I had to spend there 2 or 3 days, they were like, "Where were you?" And I was
Mhm.
like, "I was at the hospital," and they were like, because we noticed that you didn't turn on your lights. And I was like, oh yeah, yeah, I was at the hospital. Like, but in some way, they were worried about
Yeah,
me just only because I didn't turn on my lights. But they were aware and they noticed that I wasn't there.
yeah,
And they weren't my friends. They were just my neighbors.
yeah. It's nice to know that somebody's keeping an eye out. Somebody
Yeah,
cares.
that they're looking after you even when you don't notice.
Yeah. And this, okay, so then this idea of the palliative companion, I've spoken with other people who say, this is even more important than an advance directive, than like having somebody who can be your health advocate. But I'd love to hear just what your experience is with voluntad anticipada or advance directive, and is this something that you recommend, or is it just like,
Sure,
yeah?
sure, totally. Actually, I had a patient 2 or 3 days ago. I met him, and when I met him, we were dealing with him with some memory issues, right?
Hmm.
He was having problems with his memories, and now unfortunately he has a disease which is multiple system atrophy. So there's not a cure. There's not something that we can do to stop it, and soon he's gonna be dealing with dementia and other conditions. But right now he is, let's call it, um I don't know how to say it. Um, he's still preserved. His cognitive functions are still preserved. So the last attention that I had them with him at IMS, because he was my patient, he's my patient at IMS. It was like, like you gotta talk to your wife. You gotta tell her, like she's your keeper, the
Hmm.
primary keeper. So you gotta talk to her and you gotta tell her if what you want to do with your body when this time comes when you are not allowed. Of
Hmm.
course he was like, but in dementia actually the advanced care plan that's been most in the British guidelines, um I think, and of course after the pandemic, um I think it's really important because Um, I've seen so many people not even taking a decision at the moment when you're just telling them like, "Hey, we need to get you a tube," or "We need to do some central way, whatever," and that they are like, I don't know, like because they are stressed at that moment. But it's if we don't do that, maybe they could die. So um, when that happens it will be totally different and we will have a voluntad anticipada,
Hmm.
which is like the legal form,
Yeah.
right? So I think it's important, and I tell them every time, like it's not only you, it's all of us who should deal with this. The way when you go to get your driver license, that they ask you like, are you an organ donor or not? That's what we should all tell. Doesn't matter if you're gonna get in a situation like this where you should take this decision immediately. It will be really much easier if we would all tell our keepers, our closest friends, our family, like, if I'm ever in this situation, I don't want them to get this done on me.
Hmm.
I rather to let me in peace. I don't
Yeah.
want to go through that pain. I don't want to get to that trauma, you know?
Hmm.
So yeah, I think it's 100% valid and we should all do it.
Hmm. And is it enough for me to tell my closest companion, hey, this is what I want and this is what I don't want? Or do I have to have a legal piece of paper, have it written down?
Of course, it's always better to have like the legal piece of paper,
Hmm.
but if you're at the hospital and the law is, I mean, when you're at the hospital, the law is going to tell you as a doctor, you need to talk to your patient. If your patient can speak, then you
Hmm.
talk to the closest relative or the people who is there if it's
Hmm.
a life-threatening condition.
Hmm.
So you gotta talk to the person who's with your patient there. And in that moment, the legal responsibility falls it all in the people who are with you at the hospital.
Mm. Okay.
So if you've been hospitalized or any condition, you can tell your doctor since the beginning,
Hmm.
like, I don't want to get this done on me.
Yeah.
I don't want it. And you signed, and that's enough for us and all the health team to
Hmm.
be in the same page with
Hmm.
you and what we are
Hmm.
gonna do and what we are not gonna do.
Hmm. Yeah, and all the more reason for me to have a relationship with the geriatrician, a relationship with my doctor. So if I do come
Yes.
in and it's a crisis, you already know me. You already know what I want.
What are your wishes and what
Yes.
you would have liked to get done or not? And that's, yeah, that's something we can do
Hmm.
as doctors, right? I've
Hmm.
had also a situationship which it was like 3 months ago. I got really depressed with that patient because even when you don't think that would happen, yeah, you get depressed with your patients. You get them, you feel them, and you
Hmm.
feel like, what if it would be me or my family? Like, sometimes you just feel like, I can't. So, this patient, he was facing a really severe pneumonia. We needed to get him a tube, and we needed to do some other things in order to keep his life. But he was married. He was married, so according to law, we should talk to her. Oh, but he was here alone. He was
Hmm.
here like with no one, and he was only here for his job. And we called the job, and they were like, "No, we're not taking care of him. We don't know. Like, he just arrived, so we don't know him. We can't tell you anything about him." Of course, we were like, "Oh my god!" Like, the doctors, we were like, "What are we gonna do?" And we were telling him like, we need to get you a tube, we need to get you a tube, we need to get you a tube. And he was like, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. But he wasn't telling us yes or no. He was just like,
Hmm.
I'm not sure, I don't know.
Hmm.
Let me see, how do I go? And he was really poor. Uh, he was giving all his money to his wife and his parents. And in the end, we were all waiting for the wife to tell us what to do, but she wasn't here. She wasn't even planning on coming here. The parents, the they were really shocked that even his mother got a heart attack, knowing the situation. Then she passed away, and we were all hoping for an answer that we didn't get it. And since he wasn't allowing us to do that, we had to take actions. And in those moments, when you have these situations, the law is giving you this power to you as a doctor to decide if it's good for their life or not. In the end, we got the tube. I mean, he got the tube, but he passed away like 3 or 4 days after that. It was
Hmm.
really a really severe pneumonia, no?
Hmm.
And we were all shocked. We were all like, he didn't want it to get that too. Like,
Yeah.
we should have never done that. But in those moments, like, what do you do? Like, you gotta act according to law, and we didn't have a person here for him to tell us, hey, stop, like, don't do that, because it's legal. Actually, that's something else that I looked for you. And the law allows the patient to decide whether they want to get a cure treatment or a
Hmm.
palliative treatment.
Hmm.
If they know that the cure treatment is going to cause them any pain and they don't want to go through it, the law is supporting you on to take that decision. Like, no,
Hmm.
I only want palliative care and comfort of life. I don't want
Yeah.
anything else, and it's totally legal.
Yeah.
Like, you should know that it's legal for you as immigrants and for Mexicans like us. It's legal. Like, the law is supporting us.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you can't talk or make the decision yourself, hopefully you have a person that's close to you that can be the voice, be your voice. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, yeah, literally be your voice and your mind and your everything. Be you
Yeah.
in that
Yeah.
moment when you can speak.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really important.
Yeah. Well, Thank you so much for your time and all.
No,
This
you're
has been
welcome.
great. Is there anything that we didn't cover that you feel
That
like?
I did my research. Well, nothing
Yeah.
that do have universal access to health. Like I told you, not more than a Mexican and not less than a Mexican. In Mexico, the law is not doing this distinction according to your origins.
Mhm.
Like you are just a person, you got the right. You shouldn't be charged on anything if it's dealing with your life. And well, you got the right to keep your attention. You got the right to get an interpreter according to the law. Of course, it's not always possible, but
Mhm.
well, that's what the law says. And everyone who's accepting palliative care and decide to go on the way for palliative care rather than healing or cures or whatever is allowed to, and the law is respecting their choices.
Mhm.
And well, also you got a right for a second opinion. If you don't like what your doctor is telling you, you can go and look for another opinion. We should all respect your culture, okay? And well, that's it. Like your rights are, you should know that as an immigrant, doesn't matter where you come from. The Mexican law is taking care of those matters, and they look at you and they recognize you, and they take you as equal as us according to palliative care and health issues.
That's great.
Yeah.
Great.
I
Wonderful.
didn't. I didn't even myself didn't know that we had so many immigration laws according to health, but it's really good to know. It's really
Yeah.
good to know, even for me.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it is really, it's good to know. And yeah, I mean, if you come from the United States, the public healthcare system in Mexico is just like amazing.
Yes, it is. It is.
So, but yeah, it's good to know that there's good care. And I'm really happy to know more about what a geriatrician does, because I think that this is, yeah, really important. And I hope that all expats in Mexico are finding a geriatrician or like a general practitioner that they can have a relationship with that knows them and knows their wishes. And yeah. Okay, well, thank you so much. And
No,
it's
thank you.